Have you ever felt like, suffering is just baked into being human? Something you just have to put up with, like a constant shadow?
Mm-hmm. Like it's just the price of admission.
Exactly. But what if I told you that, for a lot of us living today, a huge chunk of that suffering is actually optional?
Optional suffering.
Yeah.
It sounds almost contradictory, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a pretty bold idea, challenges everything we usually assume about pain,
Mm.
about happiness. So today we're doing a deep dive into something really unique. It's not a massive book or, some dense academic thing. It's actually an email.
Just an email.
Yeah, an email shared by a writer, Chris Abraham, that he got from his guru.
Mm.
And it's short, but wow, it packs a punch.
Okay.
It takes this ancient wisdom, like really old ideas, and boils it down into this shockingly simple, but honestly life-altering insight about why we suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe more importantly, how real peace, what some people call nirvana, might be way closer than you've ever thought possible.
Right.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this thing, this short but powerful message, piece by piece, see how it really pushes back against our usual ideas about pain and, well, being content.
And that's what makes this so interesting for you listening right now. Because
Yeah.
this isn't about needing a PhD in philosophy or, becoming a monk for 10 years.
It's not at all.
The guru's email manages to distill like thousands of years of really deep thinking into something you could actually use today in your life. It's direct, it's actionable. So we're going to explore how this message changes the way we think about living in what the email itself calls, paradise.
Paradise, yeah. Strong word.
It is. And it's not just about understanding the words on the page or screen, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost like a shortcut to getting properly informed about your own mind, your inner world.
Okay, I like that. Well informed about your inner landscape.
Exactly. Understanding how your mind works in a way that could genuinely change how you see suffering and maybe open up a path to feeling, more at peace.
Okay, let's dive in then. So the email starts with this premise. And honestly, when I first read it, it was like a light bulb moment, one of those aha things where you think, why didn't I see that before?
Mm-hmm. Obvious in hindsight.
Totally. The guru just states it flat out. Here's why people suffer, and here's why most of that suffering is unnecessary.
Boom. Just like that. Unnecessary suffering.
Yeah, think about that phrase, unnecessary suffering. It's powerful because it directly confronts how we normally think, right? Where suffering is just a given, something we have to bear.
Absolutely. It reframes the whole struggle. And I think what often gets missed is just how powerful simplicity can be. We're sort of conditioned, aren't we, to think profound truths have to be wrapped up in complicated language or hidden away in like ancient rituals.
Yeah, you need the secret decoder ring.
Right. But here, the guru shows that sometimes the biggest insights are the ones laid bare, direct, unambiguous. And that clarity, not trying to obscure things, that's where the power lies. It immediately takes suffering from being this fixed fate we just accept.
Yeah, passively endure.
To being something we actually have some control over, some agency. It flips the script from resignation to active choice.
Which immediately makes you ask, right?
Exactly. It makes you, listening, ask, okay, if most of my suffering is unnecessary, what does that actually mean for me day to day? What parts that the heaviness I feel might actually be optional?
It forces you to kind of take inventory.
And what's amazing is how this, really modern-sounding idea connects straight back to ancient wisdom.
The roots are deep.
The guru explicitly mentions Buddhism, reminds Chris, the recipient, that this whole tradition started with Siddhartha Gautama.
Who became the Buddha?
The awakened one, exactly. And 2,500 years ago, the Buddha shared this core insight.
Tav.
Life is full of suffering, dukkha. That's undeniable.
Right, the first noble truth.
But, and this is the crucial bit, that suffering can end.
The third noble truth. Liberation is possible.
Yes. And how? By understanding where it comes from, its origins, and then, this is key, learning how to let go.
That art of letting go. Sounds simple, but it's profound. And it's not just some dusty old concept. The guru's email pulls it right into the present, makes it intensely practical for us now.
That connection is so important. It really sets the stage for applying this ancient stuff in a totally contemporary way. Like you said, the guru isn't saying, right, drop everything, shave your head, find a cave.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
The genius here is taking these timeless principles about existence and suffering and applying them to your modern life, which, let's face it, is wildly different from ancient India, but still full of its own discomforts.
Oh, for sure. Different stresses, same basic operating system maybe.
Exactly. And the email gives this incredibly practical, almost immediate path to letting go. It bridges thousands of years, takes something that could feel really esoteric and just grounds it right here, right now, makes it relevant to your job, your relationships, your anxieties.
It reminds us that suffering itself, that basic human experience, hasn't fundamentally changed, even if the wallpaper is different.
Well put. The context changes, the core mechanism often doesn't.
So, to make this even clearer, more memorable, the guru categorizes suffering. And he uses this very direct term. He calls it the shit.
Okay, doesn't mince words, does he?
Not at all. Which, honestly, I find kind of refreshing. It cuts through any spiritual pretense.
Yeah, gets your attention.
So the first 7 things on this list are the raw, fundamental experiences. Stuff humans have always dealt with. Thirst, hunger, exposure to the elements, sickness, horniness, injury, tiredness.
Primal stuff. Biological imperatives and vulnerability. You can almost feel those, can't you? They're visceral.
Totally. Forces that absolutely shaped human history. But then comes number 8. After all those physical, biological things, he adds one more. Distinct. Crucial.
Okay, what is it?
And then there's one more. Your brain.
There it is. The pivot. And that clear split is just so critical, isn't it? For understanding where most modern suffering actually comes from.
Exactly.
Those first 7, they're mostly physical, primal, biological needs or challenges. Always been part of the deal. Tangible things. Body interacting with the world. But number 8, your brain. That's purely psychological, internal. And calling the whole list the shit, it's blunt, sure, but it's brilliant. You won't forget it.
Definitely not.
And it immediately helps you listening start to sort your own feelings of suffering. Is this thirst? Or is this, anxiety about work? Is it physical or is it generated up here?
Right. That distinction is the first step to actually doing something about it.
Precisely. It gives you a framework.
Now, to really get why this message is so, revolutionary, we need to do a quick mental time travel. Think about human history. For almost all of it, that shit list wasn't just a concept. It was the brutal day-in, day-out reality.
The absolute baseline of existence.
Imagine really being thirsty, not just, I could use a drink, but debilitating thirst with no clean water source guaranteed.
Or real hunger, not I missed lunch, but days, weeks of gnawing emptiness, the real fear of starving.
Exactly. Freezing in winter, baking in summer, no proper shelter. Getting sick from something minor like a cut and knowing it could kill you because there's no medicine, no doctor.
Injuries that meant certain death or a lifetime of agony and helplessness.
Our ancestors lived, generally speaking, short, incredibly hard lives, just filled with constant fear and physical pain. Survival wasn't optional. It was a full-time job against these raw forces.
There was no headspace for existential angst when you were literally fighting to see the next sunrise.
Right. The anxiety was about the lion outside the cave, not the email in your inbox.
And that historical context isn't just like background color. It's crucial because it throws our current reality into such sharp relief. A reality we almost completely take for granted. Those harsh conditions shaped everything for millennia. Human psychology, society, everything revolved around basic survival. Decision-making was immediate, physical, life or death.
Yeah.
So remembering that grim backdrop helps you appreciate how unbelievably unique and, frankly, privileged your situation likely is right now, even on a bad day.
It's a perspective check for sure.
A massive one. It highlights the almost miraculous progress we've made. Progress we just swim in like water, barely noticing. We've largely transcended that basic survival fight in ways our ancestors couldn't even dream of.
Which makes our modern suffering kind of a paradox.
Exactly. A paradox built on forgetting just how good we actually have it, physically speaking.
Okay, so now we get to the guru's big observation, the real pivot point. He writes, but my guru wrote, in the modern world, at least for most people in developed countries, these things don't have to control you anymore.
Wow. Just let that sink in. Those ancient struggles, the shit that dominated human life forever, they don't have to control you now. He's saying their power, their inevitability has been broken for many of us.
And he lists the solutions, and they sound almost insultingly simple because they're so normal for us now. Clean water is everywhere, food is cheap and available, you have a roof over your head, medicine exists, roads are safe, hospitals exist.
Mundane miracles.
Exactly. Things we barely register, but they represent a total revolution in human experience.
It's genuinely hard to overstate how monumental that shift is. This is an unprecedented liberation from that primal physical suffering. We turn on a tap, boom, clean water. Feeling hungry, supermarket's full, too hot, too cold. We adjust the thermostat, sick. We see a doctor, get medicine that actually works. These aren't just minor conveniences. They are the result of centuries of effort that have, for many people, effectively eliminated the constant grinding fight for basic survival.
It frees up so much energy, bandwidth.
Exactly. Mental and physical energy. It allows for a whole different level of living where survival isn't the main focus. And connecting this to the bigger picture, like you said, it explains why our anxieties are so different now. Our ancestors worried about starving. We worry about gluten. They worried about dying from infection. We worry about optimizing our sleep schedule.
Haha, yeah, it sounds absurd when you put it like that.
It kind of is. The very nature of common suffering has fundamentally changed for a huge portion of humanity.
Yeah.
That physical shit is largely optional now. It's a profound transformation we overlook, which leads us to magnify problems that, historically speaking, are luxuries.
And the guru doesn't just state the general principle. He then goes through the first 7 items on the shit list, one by one, and offers the modern solution with, like, almost comical simplicity.
Okay, let's hear them.
Right. He's not denying these states exist. You still get thirsty, obviously, but he's hitting home how avoidable the prolonged suffering from them is.
Got it.
So, thirst, his answer. Drink water.
Simple enough.
Hunger. Eat something.
Check.
Exposure to the elements. Go indoors.
Obvious, yeah.
Sickness. Take care of your body and crucially see a doctor.
Right, use the resources.
Horniness. Okay, this one's interesting. He says, take care of yourself or let it pass.
Pragmatic. No judgment, just manage it.
Exactly. Injury. Avoid carelessness, and again, medical care exists.
Be mindful, use the safety net.
Tiredness.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Okay, seems straightforward.
He's not being dismissive, right?
Really?
He's hammering home the sheer accessibility of these fixes for so many of us. These aren't epic quests anymore.
No, exactly. The core theme running through all of that is these are choices.
Yeah.
These are actions readily available to most people in developed countries. They're not insurmountable barriers like they used to be.
Right.
And his take on horniness is great, I think. Super pragmatic, totally non-judgmental, acknowledges it's a natural urge,
Yeah.
offers 2 practical options: deal with it directly or let the impulse subside. No drama, no shame, just mindful management so it doesn't hijack your peace.
Yeah, it doesn't let it become this huge consuming thing.
Exactly. And with sickness and injury, sure, severe cases are still awful, and he's not denying that pain. But his point is that so many instances of suffering from everyday sickness or minor injuries can be massively reduced or avoided altogether through preventative care, basic hygiene, vaccinations, healthy habits, by taking personal responsibility. And critically, by having access to medical help that our ancestors could only dream of. A toothache could kill you back then. A cut could lead to amputation. Now, usually it's an inconvenience treatable.
Perspective again.
Massive perspective shift. He keeps reinforcing the accessibility. For most people hearing this, these aren't heroic feats. They are simple, everyday decisions. Be proactive. Don't just passively accept prolonged discomfort from these basic physical things. That's the modern advantage.
Okay, so if that's true, if water, food, shelter, medicine, safety, if they're all relatively easy to access for many of us, then we hit the big question, the paradox. All this primal shit is largely solvable if you choose to solve it. Yet people still suffer a lot, constantly. Why?
The physical stuff is mostly hindered. Why is misery still so widespread?
And the guru delivers the answer, the pivot we talked about. The reason, he says, is because of the last one, your brain.
Dun, dun, dun. The internal culprit. And this really is the absolute crux of it all, isn't it? The whole deep dive hinges on this shift. We move from looking at external circumstances, which, okay, largely manageable for many, to looking inward at the internal landscape, our thoughts, emotions, perceptions. And it's this realm that, for most people, just runs wild, unchecked, unmanaged, unquestioned.
Like a toddler with a megaphone.
Yeah, something like that. And it forces you to ask, if my physical suffering is largely optional now, what does that imply about the nature of most of my current suffering? Is it really caused by external events? Or is the root cause much closer, right between my ears?
It demands some real honesty looking inward like that.
It really does. Identifying the true source.
So let's talk about this brain. Our brain, the guru calls it tricky, which I think we can agree is a massive understatement.
World-class understatement, yeah.
He explains its original job, its evolutionary purpose. It evolved to keep you alive thousands of years ago when the world was dangerous. Makes sense.
Survival machine.
Right. But here's the kicker. It still acts like you're in that world.
Oof. Yeah. That hits home.
Think about it. This incredibly sophisticated survival mechanism, honed over countless generations to be hyper-alert to threats, brilliant at spotting predators, sensing danger from rival tribes,
Essential skills back then.
is now operating in overdrive in a world where those immediate physical life and death threats are mostly gone for many of us. It's like having, I don't know, a state-of-the-art smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast.
Perfect analogy. Overly sensitive for the current environment.
It's this powerful engine, but it's running on outdated maps, constantly flagging things as danger, 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 when they're really just inconvenient or annoying or uncertain.
It's that classic evolutionary mismatch we hear about.
Yeah.
Our biology hasn't caught up with our environment.
Exactly.
That primal brain, amazing for dodging lions, is now freaking out over work emails, or someone cutting you off in traffic, or seeing someone else's perfect life on Instagram.
Or just vague worries about the future.
Right. Abstract threats.
Yeah.
Job security, climate change, what people think of you. That ancient wiring, so beneficial then, becomes this huge source of unnecessary stress now in our relatively safe world.
It triggers the same fight-or-flight response for an angry comment online as it might have for a charging bore.
Pretty much, which is why your internal stress can feel so disproportionate, so overwhelming, even when objectively, you're perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Powerful engine, outdated instructions, constantly sounding alarms for ghosts.
So how exactly does this tricky, outdated brain torment us? The guru lists the ways, and man, they are relatable. It tells you to worry, to fear, to stay alert, even when you're safe.
Check, check, and check.
It invents threats and repeats old pain.
Oh yeah, the classic.
It creates suffering out of nothing. It's like this nonstop internal commentary of doom and gloom, isn't it? Or just dissatisfaction.
It really is. Let's break those down a bit, because they capture so much of the modern human condition.
Yeah.
First, worry and fear. That's the brain constantly jumping into the future, right?
Yeah.
Playing out worst-case scenarios. The endless what-if loop.
Usually about stuff that never actually happens.
Exactly. How often do you catch your mind spinning these elaborate horror stories about, I don't know, a presentation next week, or a doctor's appointment, or what someone might think? It steals your present moment, worrying about a future that isn't real.
Totally. Drains your battery.
Second, staying alert when safe. That feeling of never quite being able to switch off. That low-level hum of anxiety even when you're just sitting on the couch.
Yeah, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Precisely. It makes it hard to truly relax, truly rest. It can lead to that generalized anxiety or insomnia even when you're physically comfortable and secure. Your body might be safe, but your mind's still on patrol duty.
Scanning the horizon for imaginary threats.
Third, it invents threats. This is where the brain gets creative. It imagines slights where none were intended, anticipates criticism, builds these complex dramas about social rejection or professional failure.
Based on zero evidence sometimes.
Often. You replay conversation and twist someone's words into an insult. You walk into a room and assume everyone's judging you. It's a master fiction writer, creating stress out of thin air, mountains out of molehills, or maybe just out of nothing.
The internal narrator is often unreliable.
Very unreliable.
Yeah.
Fourth, it repeats old pain. This one's cruel. The brain's tendency to just loop past mistakes, embarrassing moments, old hurts, grudges.
It's like watching reruns of your worst moments.
Exactly.
Right.
You effectively re-experience the suffering, sometimes years or decades later. Event is long gone, but the mind keeps digging it up, reactivating those pain pathways.
Yeah.
It stops you from healing by constantly picking the scab.
Ouch. Yeah.
And finally, it creates suffering out of nothing. This is maybe the most insidious. It's the existential stuff, that constant craving for more. More money, more status, more stuff, more likes.
The not enough feeling.
Yes. The feeling of inadequacy. The endless comparison game, especially fueled by social media. The longing for external validation, or things you think will make you happy, but never quite do.
The if only I had X, then I'd be happy trap.
That's the one. These are purely mental constructs. Desires the brain just generates, and when they aren't met instantly, which they rarely are, boom, suffering, lack, emptiness. The grass is always greener, keeping you perpetually dissatisfied.
Wow. Laid out like that, it's quite an indictment of the default human mind.
Well, as the guru puts it, simply and directly, most people let their brain run wild, and it ruins their peace.
Yeah.
And it's not meant as a harsh judgment, I don't think. It's just an observation of this incredibly common tendency. We lack conscious management of our inner world. We let this ancient, overprotective guard run the show, even when the war is long over.
Like having a Ferrari with no steering wheel. All power, no direction, constantly crashing.
That's a good way to put it. It crashes into self-made walls of suffering.
Okay, but here's the hope. Here's the antidote the guru offers. And it's not what you might expect. He doesn't say, fight your brain or force it to be quiet. That usually backfires anyway.
Mm-hmm. Trying to suppress thoughts makes them louder.
Exactly. Instead, he offers something more subtle, more powerful, he says. But as my guru said, you don't have to listen to it. You can notice the lies it tells.
Notice the lies. That's the key phrase.
It's not about stopping the thoughts. It's about changing your relationship to them, gaining perspective, disengaging from the drama.
Yes, that's where the real transformation happens. Noticing the lies is the practice. It's not suppression, it's observation. Stepping back, creating a little space between you, the observer, and the thought stream your brain produces.
Like watching traffic go by instead of jumping into every car.
Perfect. You recognize these thoughts, the worries, the fears, the desires, as just mental events, transient phenomena, not absolute truths, not commands you have to obey. This is core mindfulness, really. You might try this. When a worry pops up, instead of getting sucked into the story, just label it. Silently say to yourself, worry, or there's that not good enough thought again, or planning mind is active.
Just acknowledging it neutrally.
Exactly. That simple act of noticing and naming creates distance. You're not fighting it, you're just not buying into it wholesale. You let it float by, like a cloud. You can use your breath as an anchor when the thought arises. Acknowledge it, then gently return your focus to your breath.
The thought loses its grip then, often.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see it as separate from your core self, just a product of the brain's programming, not necessarily reality. And the cool thing is, with practice, this noticing actually starts to rewire the brain. Neuroplasticity. You build new, calmer pathways.
So it's a skill you develop.
Absolutely. It's training the mind. And then the guru offers this huge reframe, this perspective shift designed to dissolve a lot of that manufactured suffering instantly. He says, you can see that you are alive right now in a time and place where you are safer and more comfortable than almost any human who has ever lived. And then you already live in conditions that would have seemed like paradise to your ancestors.
Paradise. Again, with that word, it feels almost jarring compared to how we usually feel day to day.
It is jarring because it's true for so many of us, but we're completely blind to it most of the time. It's not hyperbole. It's a factual statement about our baseline conditions.
The implications of really taking that on board, they're huge.
Immense.
Yeah.
How often do you listening actually pause and feel the sheer, almost unbelievable luxury of your existence compared to 99.9% of human history?
Probably. Never. Or very rarely.
Right. Think about it. Indoor plumbing, instant global communication, climate control, food from all over the world, available 24/7, electricity, the internet, nearly all human knowledge in your pocket, comfortable beds, clean water on demand.
Things we just expect.
We expect them. But even kings and queens centuries ago didn't have most of this stuff. Your ancestors, struggling against the raw elements, would view your average modern apartment with reliable heating and Wi-Fi as literal paradise.
Yeah.
An unimaginable utopia.
Yeah. Wow.
So truly realizing that, cultivating that perspective, that gratitude, it can dismantle so much of the brain's invented suffering.
Wow.
When you genuinely feel, wow, I'm living in conditions my ancestors would have called paradise, suddenly that worry about a minor work deadline or a social media comment, it shrinks. It loses its power, its urgency.
It puts things in perspective, a very large perspective.
Exactly. It grounds you in the incredible reality of your present privilege.
Which brings us to how the guru redefines nirvana. And it's really different from how most people probably think about it. He challenges those, mystical, far-off ideas.
Makes it accessible.
He says, this, he said, is what Buddhism has been pointing to all along. Nirvana is not a faraway place. It's not only for monks. It's not locked in a temple.
Takes you right off the pedestal.
Completely. Demolishes that image of nirvana as some impossible state only reachable by spiritual superheroes after decades of effort, or some reward you get after you die. He brings it right down to earth. Right here.
And that's revolutionary because it deconstructs those common, often intimidating misconceptions. It pulls nirvana out of the realm of the mystical and makes it tangible for you. Now, it's not this abstract reward for extreme effort, not just for the spiritual elite, not found in some specific building. It makes nirvana democratic, accessible.
So if it's not out there, where is it?
Well, connecting the dots, it reframes the whole spiritual path, doesn't it? It's not an external quest to find something. It's an internal shift, a change in your awareness right where you are. It suggests peace isn't something you add. It's what's left when you remove the layers of unnecessary suffering and misunderstanding.
Okay, so how does he define it then, concretely?
He makes it beautifully simple, beautifully immediate. Nirvana is here, now, when suffering ends.
Full stop. That's it.
That's the core definition he offers. No complex theology needed. Just the end of suffering.
And then he explains how that happens, keeping it super practical. It's what happens when you take care of your basic needs and stop letting your brain torture you with fear and longing.
The two-part formula again. Handle the physical shit, then handle the mental brain shit. And that really is the essence of it, isn't it? Elegantly put. Nirvana isn't some prize you chase. It's the natural state that just emerges when two things happen. One, you consciously manage the physical stuff, food, water, shelter, rest, health, which for many now is doable. You take care of the body's basic requirements. Two, and this is the big one for modern life, you consciously address the mental brain shit, the self-inflicted suffering from that runaway mind. You recognize it, you challenge it, you disarm it by not believing its lies.
And he specifically calls out fear and longing.
Yes. Let's focus on those for a second, because they really are the twin engines driving so much of the brain's self-generated suffering today. Fear is usually about the future, right? Fear of what might happen, fear of losing what you have, fear of failure, of judgment, of not being enough. It manifests as anxiety about work, money, health, relationships, the world.
Constant projection into potential negative outcomes.
Exactly. And longing. That's about perceived lack, about what's absent, craving what you don't have but think you need for happiness. More money, a better job, a different partner, a perfect body, some future state of bliss. It's the if-only syndrome, comparison, dissatisfaction with the present.
Never content.
Right. So the guru implies that when these dominant mental patterns, projecting fear into the future and projecting desire or lack onto the present, when they stop running the show, when you stop feeding them energy by believing them, peace just naturally arises. It's what's underneath.
Which really makes you wonder, what would life feel like if your mind wasn't constantly hijacked by fear and longing? What clarity, what contentment might just be there?
It's a profound question to sit with, isn't it? What becomes possible when those filters are removed?
Okay, but now we get to maybe the most challenging part of the email. The guru shares what he calls the sad truth. And it's uncomfortable, but also deeply insightful. It really makes you look hard at yourself and maybe people you know.
Uh-oh, what's the sad truth?
He writes, most people don't really want nirvana.
Whoa. Okay. Didn't expect that.
Right. He continues, they say they do, but they cling to their suffering because it feels familiar.
Cling to suffering because it's familiar. That sounds messed up. Why would anyone do that?
It's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? To think we might actually hold on to our own misery.
It really is. That's probably the most provocative statement so far. Why on earth would we cling to pain? It seems totally counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But psychologically.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, first, there's definitely the power of familiarity and identity. Suffering, or the story you tell about your suffering, can become central to who you think you are. I'm the anxious one. I'm the one who always struggles. Life's always been hard for me.
It becomes your brand, almost.
Kind of. It's the known territory, even if it's unpleasant. Letting go of that familiar pain can feel like letting go of your identity. Who are you without the struggle? It can be genuinely disorienting. The unknown of peace might feel scarier than the known pain.
That's a sobering thought.
Second, the viewer mentions they hold on to their pain because it gives them something to talk about, something to blame. This points to attention, validation, maybe what psychologists call secondary gains.
Meaning?
Meaning suffering can get you things. Sympathy, attention, connection, even if it's through shared complaining. It can be an excuse for not trying or for perceived failures. Well, I couldn't do X because I was feeling so Y.
A built-in justification.
Sometimes, yeah. It can even create a weird sense of specialness. My problems are unique. My pain is deep. If you let go of the suffering narrative, what do you talk about? How do you get that attention or validation?
Wow. That's so uncomfortably perceptive.
Third, just the raw fear of the unknown. Living without that familiar internal battle. It sounds good, but it can also be terrifying. What would you do with all that mental space and energy if it wasn't consumed by worry or resentment? What new challenges or responsibilities might surface? Change is scary, even change for the better. Our brains crave predictability, even painful predictability.
Yeah, better the devil you know.
And fourth, maybe the biggest one, avoidance of responsibility. If suffering is, as the guru suggests, largely optional and driven by your brain, well, that puts the onus on you to change it.
Right. No more blaming the world or your boss or your past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It means taking ownership of your internal state, and that requires courage, self-honesty, effort. It's often easier, frankly, to feel like a victim of circumstances than to accept that the power and the responsibility lies within your own mind.
It's daunting.
It is. So when the guru says they'd rather keep their misery than let it go, it's less a judgment and more a really challenging observation. It invites you to look honestly. Are you holding on to any suffering because it's familiar? Because it serves some hidden purpose? Because taking responsibility feels too hard?
A call for radical self-honesty.
Totally. A moment to really question your own relationship with your own mind.
But he doesn't just leave us there in that uncomfortable realization. He immediately offers the empowering way out, the reminder of our choice, our agency.
Good, because that was getting a bit heavy.
Haha, yeah. He says simply, but you don't have to. You can choose differently. That's the core, the power to choose your response, to choose a different path.
Agency returns.
And then he neatly wraps up the practical approach again, the 2 steps to freedom. You can handle the shit thirst, hunger, exposure, sickness, horniness, injury, tiredness, because our world makes that easy. Step 1, manage the physical.
Right, be proactive with the basics.
Then you can learn to quiet the brain, the last and biggest cause of suffering. Step 2, manage the mental. Master the internal world.
It really boils down to that twofold path, and the emphasis on learn to quiet the brain is key.
Why?
Because it signals that this is a process, a skill, not magic. The guru's message is ultimately about personal agency, yes, but it's grounded in conscious choice and consistent effort. It's not wishful thinking.
It takes practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Learning to quiet the brain implies practice, developing awareness, perseverance. It's a journey built on those small, repeated moments of noticing the lies, choosing not to engage, returning to the present, maybe using the breath as an anchor.
Micro moments adding up.
Precisely. Taking one conscious breath when you feel anxiety rising, labeling a worry as just a thought, gently redirecting your attention away from the catastrophic story your brain is spinning, setting boundaries with things that trigger comparison or longing.
Actively engaging with your inner world.
Yes. To cultivate peace. Recognizing your mind is powerful, but it's an instrument you can learn to play rather than letting it play you. It puts the control firmly back in your hands. The freedom of conscious choice. That's incredibly empowering.
So wrapping this all up, what does it really mean for you listening right now, living your life, this whole deep dive into just one email? It's given us this radical but also really practical idea that so much of our suffering, especially in this modern age of relative comfort and safety, isn't some unavoidable fate. It's not written in the stars. It's a choice, largely driven by this unmanaged mind, this brain-running ancient software in a modern world.
And the guru's final piece of wisdom just nails it. I think it sums everything up. Nirvana is right in front of you.
Right here.
You don't have to earn it. You don't have to chase it.
Not a reward, not a destination.
You only have to stop believing the suffering your brain gives you.
Wow, stop believing it.
That's the core action. Peace isn't somewhere else. It's not something to achieve. It's potentially the default state, accessible right now just by disengaging. By withdrawing belief from the fear, the worry, the longing that your brain churns out constantly, it's already here, underneath the noise, if you choose to tune into it and stop buying the brain's BS, basically.
Peace is already here, if you're willing to take it.
Yeah. That's a powerful final thought from the guru. So as you reflect on all this, what really stands out for you? What old physical or maybe more likely mental might you be clinging on to that's actually optional? What old stories, what familiar miseries are you maybe holding on to? And maybe the biggest question, what could your life actually feel like? What might transform for you if you really dare to stop believing the suffering your own brain is feeding you? This email isn't just information, it's an invitation to actively choose your state of being, to claim the paradise that maybe, just maybe, is already here.